I'd like to welcome Juan Aguiriano, the Group Head of Sustainability at Carey. He's going to explore the converging trends of consumer demands and policy shifts, and how reformulation can serve as a powerful lever, allowing brands to impact and address nutrition, taste, and climate.
Hi, I see a lot of familiar faces in the room here. So I'm supposed to do a commercial script with a script. I'm terrible with scripts. Anyway, it's there. I might have a look at it from time to time. But look, reformulation is interesting in all the conversations I have with companies. Usually we have a separate conversation. One side, nutrition, and on the other, climate and regen, etc. But the biggest opportunity we have is to bring that into one conversation. And so reformulation is not about swapping one ingredient. It's about thinking end-to-end how I create a better product that has a better nutrition, better taste, lower cost, and is better for the planet. Right? And that's where the innovation space really should be. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Good answer, good answer.
So my team is getting me, yeah, that's good there. I'm good, Alex, so far? Yeah, it's all right. So let me check the script now, what I'm supposed to say. Okay, the next thing I'm supposed to say when this thing recognizes my face is that for the time being, we have a big health issue. In the US, there's some sobering statistics I'm going to read to you here. 40% of US adults are obese, right? And 90% of the cases of diabetes type 2 out there cases of diabetes are type 2. I did not know that, right? So nowadays, non-communicable diseases account for over 75% of deaths, with heart disease being the leading cause of death among adults. Now let's reflect on that, right? Food is killing people. Bad food is killing people. So we are part of the problem. Nobody likes to be part of the problem. So where would you like to be? Thank you. Okay, some people are listening. Good. So you get goodies for that? Yeah, very good. So how do we do that, right? So we talked about reducing salt, for instance, is complicated. Salt is not only the taste, it has a lot of functional benefits. It keeps the structure of the food together, it preserves the food, etc. Same for sugar. Anybody has tried to do a muffin with a sweetener instead of sugar? It doesn't work, right? So reducing sugar, salt, and fat is really complicated and requires very sophisticated solutions, right? And then at the same time, if we look at what the consumers want, they do want to have these really great food. Food is culture. Food is enjoyment, right? And so when we try to sell double negatives like less salt, there's a big brand out there that reformulated for salt, and they called it less salt. It was a big flop because the ones that wanted to buy salt said, okay, this is not the real thing. And the ones that wanted to buy healthier said, okay, this is very salty. They have to say there's less in it. So it's not only about the technical solution, but it's the marketing of that, right? And so we really need to bring the marketeers with the sustainability and the nutrition people to create the best brands experience possible out there. And unfortunately, it doesn't happen systematically, right? So in short, removing stuff is good, but then selling it positively is even more important, right? So it's really about rethinking how food is made. And interestingly, we had a discussion this morning, right? A lot of big brands, because when you're in the incumbent, are really worried about touching their brand. But they're losing market share versus the smaller brands who don't have anything to lose. And when you are a challenger, you market sustainability with no limit. Of course, it needs to be real. You need to have the real data to prove it, but you go for it, no hesitation. If you're an incumbent, you're a lot more worried about that. So clean labeling, reducing sugar, salt, and fat is a complicated exercise, but it's the only way that you can develop food that is healthier, tastier, and has a better impact, right? So, do you know how much you can reduce sugar, salt, fat, but you can also reduce cocoa, coffee, lemon, etc. So cocoa, does anybody knows the price of cocoa today? 12,000 euros a ton. How much was it 5 years ago?
3,000.
2,000, 3,000, yeah. So 2,000 went to 4,000, 8,000, 12,000. The people who are in chocolate have had to issue profit warnings. So how can you reduce cocoa, still taste like chocolate, keep the cost in, it has the right nutrition and the consumer want to buy, right? So these are the type of challenges we're all facing now. But you can talk about sugar, you can talk about orange juice, you can talk about coffee, you can talk about all kinds of commodities where that's happening, right? Now you can try to, we have to all do regen ag to make sure that these commodities are available at cost, at quality, in the available quantities that we need, but that takes a long time. So the first thing we can do is reduce the amount of some of these commodities in the food that we sell, right? And increase the quality of the food. So I'll give you an example and I'll then move on. Orange juice with less juice, less sugar, more fiber, and less carbon. It's a different drink. It's a lot better for your health. How do you position that to consumers? That's the type of challenges we have to have in the future. Because there is, in Florida, 2 million tons produced now. 10 years ago was 12. All that production moved to Brazil because of climate issues, biodiversity issues, pest issues, etc. The simple problem is that Brazil is facing exactly the same than Florida now. Where do you go next? We could try to come to Spain, but we don't have a lot of land. So are we running out of orange juice in the future? These are the type of questions we need to figure out, right? And so in Kerry, we develop solutions for that. And last but not least, I encourage you to taste the tortilla chips that we're going to share with you. You would say, oh, this is not a healthy snack, right? Yeah, but that's the snacks that people are eating, right? It's growing at 4%, so we need to meet the consumers where they are. So this meets all the new supposedly good guidelines for salt. When I say supposedly, it's because the debate is still out there, right? But this meets the new regulations. It is lower salt. We haven't figured out how to market it yet, but let's see if you like it. And it's very popular, growing at 4% compound average growth for the next 5 years in the US. So I'm over my 5 minutes. Yeah.
Thank you, Juan.